The new Blade Runner 2049 trailer.
Yes,
is really pretty.
It's very pretty.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
I want to be in that trailer.
Oh, wait! Update regarding Blade Runner. I watched Enemy, the Denis Villeneuve movie.
How is that an update regarding this movie?
Because it's the same director.
Yeah, but he has a lot of other movies you haven't seen yet.
Now I've seen one more of them.
What was the other Denis Villeneuve movie that I haven't
seen Prisoners. I haven't seen
anyway
many of them. And again, Enemy was fine. Enemy is like a really, really, really kind of on the nose David Cronenberg homage, in that it's like, you know, everything from like the Toronto-based setting to a lot of it's just weird, like, and like very kind of the surreal era of Cronenberg.
This is Jake Gyllenhaal playing two characters.
Yeah,
in this
like
movie,
Videodrome era.
Well, what I want to know is, though, it's an homage cinematically to Cronenberg, but do we see any Cronenbergs in it?
Yes, no Cronenbergs.
No Cronenbergs.
Really Cronenberg the whole world up there. But down to the fact that like there's this blonde chick who plays like Jake Gyllenhaal, one of the Jake Gyllenhaals is his wife in it, and she's like in like 3 David Cronenberg movies and stuff. So and it's set in Toronto, and it has 2 of the same guy, just like Dead Ringers did, and it very much feels it feels very much like a direct homage to like a Videodrome era David Cronenberg, down to just like being opaque, but perhaps more opaque than any David Cronenberg film ever has. Like, there's a series of weird images and things and stuff happens, and then it's ultimately completely indecipherable and stuff. And it is what it is. It became hard for me to view it on its own, because at a certain point it became very, very clear that the entire film was in constant dialogue with like the filmography of David Cronenberg, from casting to tone to everything else. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This is a good homage. They're both Canadian, I guess. So I guess he
seems similar to what's the ballerina movie. What's it? The,
Black Swan.
Black Swan.
Very much like Black Swan. They're not with the David Cronenberg. But with the other things.
I really like the way that movie looks. Blade Runner.
Oh,
does he work with the same cinematographer every time?
Who's the cinematographer? Oh, this is Roger Deakins on this, I believe. The man,
the guy,
yeah. But here's the thing. All right, let's break down Blade Runner for a second in terms of like why is Blade Runner worth watching the original and stuff.
Well, according to you guys, it's not.
It isn't. But watching it on mute, which is I think the best way to watch it, can be very rewarding, because you know Ridley Scott, during that period, I mean, coming up from commercial background and all of that stuff, was at kind of the height of his powers. And he, to this day, I think, is good at one thing, which is making, you know, very expensive-looking images, not necessarily at directing movies, because he's made, like, 3 good ones, I'd say, in his career. But he was a master at making these, like, gorgeous, very robust images, which is tough. It's not just cinematography, it's everything that's within the frame that he is the master of. And if you look at Blade Runner especially, and also is applicable to Legend and some of the others, but Blade Runner is sort of the archetypal one, there's not a single frame in that movie that does not have some kind of moving light or crazy atmospheric idea that's at play, that's dancing across the screen, that is keeping the frame alive, that is making it gorgeous. So, I mean, there's a lot that's going on visually, but just pay attention specifically to that one notion. Like, okay, it's a cool, like, temple-like office. We'll just notice the fact that, like, they have created the artificial illusion of water reflecting on all the walls and stuff inside. Or they're in an interior apartment, but there's lights, like ostensibly flashing through the blinds, but they're moving lights. They're not static lights through the line, but they're moving. And the other thing that happens when you create a robust visual palette, and again, that's through all of Blade Runner, there's like a spinning fan, or at the end, there's rain falling, smoke rising, fans spinning in the background, all this amazing movement and atmosphere. Which is very...
You know it's the climax of the film because there's
so much, exactly. And then that allows you to do all sorts of things. It allows you to have this very robust, like, aural palette as well, because it's like, all right, so I have the water reflections, so you have like these chime sounds. You have this, when you have those lights coming in through the blinds, you can add the sounds of spaceships in the background. There's rain, there's smoke, there's crowds, there's moving lights. There's, of course, obviously the huge panels full of all the advertisements that are going on. It is definitely, I think, the high point of the most indulgence in just creating a robust visual palette in a film that I don't think has ever really been matched. It's kind of hitting like with the peak of a lot of those kind of practical effects and matte paintings, like Douglas Trumbull's work on all of the special effects, all of that stuff. Is it like you just are never going? It's basically like walking into like a palace or like the Vatican. It's just like they sure don't cover ceilings with all of this gilded shit anymore. Like that's the most amount of gilded shit that you could. That doesn't make it an awesome house, but you got to be kind of stand back and be like, man, there's a lot of gold shit on this ceiling. And that's kind of how I feel about Blade Runner. It's like I look at it, I'm like, man, there's a lot of shit in this. Like every frame, like that's just a guy standing there. Why is there like there's like a sign in the background, there's 40 extras in the foreground, there's rain falling, there's like a plastic tarp that's like flapping with artificial wind because this was all shot, and I'm just like, man, there's a lot of shit going on. And I think a lot of people react to that because they see it and they're like, it's visually so arresting, you know. And the same thing with Legend, which Legend is just a film that I have a particular affinity for. I realize it's not a good movie, but it's the same thing. In Legend, it's like particles of pollen flying up out of the thing, and sunlight, and beams of shit, and snow falling, and glitter on Tom Cruise's face for no goddamn
Everything
reason.
has glitter on it all the time.
Everything has glitter all the time. Fire and smoke and all this. Same shit. And so it's like, I appreciate Blade Runner, you know, in that way. It's like walking into like Versailles or something like that. But now when I look at like the Blade Runner 2049 trailer, all we're seeing is not just it is very robust visually, but they're all direct quotations of techniques that were utilized in. So they have like the moving light from spaceships, they have the reflective water light, they have the neon, they have the smoke rising up off the street, the big things. It's like it's all just like and none of it is quite as good as the stuff in the original Blade Runner. You know, it's a little bit thin by comparison. So it's just essentially like someone quoting something, you know. That's what it looks like when I see it. So
fair enough.
Hopefully it'll be a good movie because, you know, or have a good script.
Yeah, but this goes to another point here. It's like because of how profound it is visually, and because people watching movies for the most part who are amateurs, meaning 99.999% of movie watching public who don't make movies in any form or fashion, they get the sense that there's something profound happening just from the visuals, but they see the whole movie as a unity and can't separate out what it is that they like or think is profound from the other things. So they get a profound feeling from seeing these visuals and then attribute profundity in a haphazard way to everything that's happening.
True.
They think that, oh, the story must be profound, or there must be profound themes, or there must be profound...
100%.
And there is nothing going on in Blade Runner. It is such a dull, boring, nonsensical, stupid movie. Yes, like that nonsensical speech at the end.
How dare you?
Can we just talk about how much Ridley Scott sucks for a while? Because it's like I'm really only coming to appreciate it. Because, like, truthfully, like, I was recently watching a video where someone was going into some more historical stuff about the whole, like, is Harrison Ford a replicant thing? It was like, literally, it comes from nowhere other than Ridley Scott being kind of, like, probably clinically retarded. Just, like, insisting, like, I got it in my head that maybe he was a replicant. And, like, the writers, like, said, no, that is not the case. Harrison Ford, no, that is clearly dumb. You know, like all the people associated with the production, the producers, the author, like everyone around was like, no, that makes, like, everyone is on record as saying that makes, like, that was not something we were talking about on set. That's not, like, that's very dumb and doesn't have anything to do with what we were trying to make as a movie. And it's just crazy old Ridley. And it's proof that he didn't just become senile, like, in his later years. Because if you listen
he's always been this way.
Yes, he's always been, you know, he was like kicked in the head by a fucking donkey. So he has this savant like capacity to create these amazing visuals and just apparently zero ability to discern any other aspect of storytelling. I was listening to him in an interview, I think it was either associated with Prometheus or Alien Covenant, and he was literally saying something to this effect. He's like, well, I like to come in with all of the blocking and all of the shots already planned out on all the boards. I'm like, that's not surprising. And then sometimes you get these actors who are like, I would like to maybe do something different in the scene, and so I point at the boards like, you're gonna do something better than that, and like, come show me something, and then they're like, well, I can't think of anything, and I'm like, that's right, and I'm like, what a nightmare this man must be. Like, this is, it's like, and I don't know. And then recently, there's more chunks. Like, just look up anything that he has to say about either Blade Runner 2049 or Alien Covenant recently, and just put it through the filter of a crazy old man who doesn't know, who's just like in a bathrobe that's hanging open so you can clearly see both of his testicles, and he's just drinking like orange juice, but you know, like out of a coffee mug, you know, and. You know, that's Ridley Scott, and that really helps you understand a lot of it. And occasionally he stumbles across a really good script, like Matchstick Men is a great movie, Martian being his most recent success, which really is successful because of Drew Goddard's involvement, not Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott just happened to be along for the ride. But yeah, just a crazy, crazy old man who's very good at shooting pretty pictures.
Like Gladiator.
Yes, like Gladiator.
Oscar
winner Gladiator. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott, crazy old man. The official Scales Need stance.
Yes.